Witam
Welcome after the break, and now we are about to start the last workshop today. Bartłomiej, Cymerman and Dorota Mulińska, Virtuosity and Bentley Company Polska, spatial data integration and the designing of infrastructure object. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are today here to deliver the presentation on the newest trends and technologies to be applicable in infrastructure and construction industry. The best is always at the end, so please stay with us until the end. And on integration of geospatial data and designing data in the process of designing and planning of objects. My name is Bartłomiej Cymerman, and I'm responsible for selling of MA construction industry tools, and together with Dorota Mulińska, I will be showing MicroStation. So we have not stopped developing of our solution. We facilitate development and set the trend. The market is very demanding, and the demands of investors and designers are high. So we base on interoperability, efficiency, and scalability. And before we start the essential parts, let me tell you more about what MicroStation is different and stands out from others and how our feature can be useful. Let's start with the basics. Native format is PG. It is a very universal and so comprehensive. It has been for a long time in one version, and it can be easily use the old versions of your documents. Going further in interoperability, in MicroStation, you can directly open DWG files and, of course, also save to the same format or import different raster, vector, and point cloud formats. For the user, it means less chances to lose data in transfer and also saving of time. As for the scalability, strength of MicroStation is that it's very efficient in projects with some small scale, but also for those big ones. And from the application are big models or cloud points, and MicroStations to be efficient in working on this kind of data uses reference data, which means that you can upload in one go large volumes of data, and the image, the view is detailed step by step to the area where you work. For you, it means saving of time, obviously, and also seamless work in the application. And we also stand out in the areas like easiness of adjustment to the company standards, which facilitate station adjustments, and templates can be configured for entire organization or individual project teams. Finally, to seamlessly go from one set or to use a set which is the most applicable for the individual project. This is one of the features which makes the project to stand out in terms of interoperability of all teams. And modeling based on parameters gives you achievements. And so in MicroStations, individual elements of the models have information which can be used for automated creating of tables or statements, and individual parameters can be automatically updated. And creating documentation we base on the pre-prepared model. It's a parametric model, obviously, and those drawings have individual elements which can be included in the project, and these can generate information with a full integration with the model, which means that after preparing of a sheet, you still can make some changes which will be reflected in the documentation. And now, where MicroStation can be applied in the designing process. Terrain, so you can usually get information from surveys, as our software works with different formats, and it's easy to configure. And in the architecture drawings are based on models, which means more accuracy, more reference possibilities. And in the final model, you will be able to add more individual references, and you can easily tackle with this, and you can create views, and this is the first step to BIM. And in technical design, you are free to design architecture elements, and with IPN types features, you can freely report things. And obviously, combining all these features and the efficiency MicroStation, it is a wonderful tool for coordination. And what needs to be stressed, in individual stages, you can involve different applications. And the common denominator is always the DG format. So that's the introduction. And now, please, let's go to the substantive part of the presentation. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dorota Mulińska, and with BIM, I have been related since 2016. I started with inventory taking in Architect and Revit, both on modeling and projects, and also I was providing trainings in Bentley systems, where as a consultant I am in regular contact with users. I concentrate on MicroStation and open building designer software, particularly for configuration and creating of company standards. And also I concentrate on calculation software, generic components, and I also have some courses in AGH University in Krakow for postgraduate BIM studies. And now let's go to GeoPortal. On the right-hand side, let's select data to be downloaded. We can find NMC data. I select the option number 1, and with this, I upload point clouds for the entire country. And now let's go to the area of Krakow. You can see that there are some tiles, and so these are separate point clouds, and we need to select which we want to use. And next, you click on one tile, and what you get is an option to download point cloud as LAS format. Let's select one tile, and next. And the next step, we will go to MicroStation. And let me just mention that this data is totally free of charge, so it is good to use it. And now let's go to MicroStation, and let's create a new file. Let's name it terrain. Before I import point clouds, we coordinate the file. On the right-hand side, you can see this mark. This is this globe with this cross. It means that the file is not coordinated. So to do this, you need to go to Utilities, next Coordinate Systems, and you will find tools to import and export of geo-coordination systems. If you have any references which having geo-coordinates, you will be able to download those geo-references from the pre-existing reference, or you can send them to reference. But in this particular case, I will use the first option from library. So that's where you will find libraries with geo-coordinate options. You can also use search. You need to key in the name of the system, and the entire library will be searched. You can also save some of these as your favorites, and they will be displayed at the very top. So I will select System Polska CS92, and as you can see, this file is now geo-coordinated. We have here detailed information on the geo-coordination system, but on the bottom right corner, we've got green icons telling us that the file is geo-referenced. Next, you need to import cloud points. Let me use the search field. I will type in point clouds, and I will find the tool. It will show where exactly in the software this tool is available, and I can also start it from here. So I will select attach point cloud, and I will select format to all files, and I will select a point cloud. We've got here some additional settings. The software automatically will convert the LAS format to POD, so this is a Bentley native format. And so another cloud. Let me open it. OK. Save as POD. Close the window, and now I will zoom in geometry of the point cloud. What you can see, we've got the imported point cloud. Important is that the cloud is geo-coordinated. So the cloud downloaded from GeoPortal has its coordinates, and it is located in the right location. Additionally, we have tools to monitor how the cloud is displayed. It is not very attractive. The display mode is not very attractive, but if you go to View Attributes and under the file, if you have the point cloud here, so you've got additional options to manage the view of the point cloud. So you can select like intensity. So this is the grayscale, and another secret way of displaying is elevation. So you can select by elevation of the elements, or next you can use classification. So the cloud in this GeoPortal is prepared correctly, and we have classified elements, and using with this option by classification, you can see where you have got greenery, buildings, roads, etc. So let me use the most attractive mode of displaying. So this is RGB. So these are the natural colors of geometry elements. Additionally, this cloud has a defined density, which obviously cannot be changed. But what we can change, it is the thickness of line. So the cloud is based on points. So if you go to the line thickness and if you change it to 3, your cloud will get some additional volume. So each item will be thicker, and so that's what I'm doing now. And now I'm going to discuss also how to plan an underground in Krakow. So we can go to the top view. That's where you can go to the insertion of lines, or curve, or place, not line, and that's how you create a line of our future underground railway. So we've got the area, and you can drag and snaps. This line will be created on the surface of the road. Next, let me select the line. Let me go to the side view, and I will drag it by 20 meters downwards. So now we have this line of underground railway, Obviously, you can also use microstation tools for modeling or extrude along, select a profile, a line, and you can cut the profile along the line. But what I wanted to show you, it is GIF opponents for parametric designing. As for now, the software is available as Open Build Designer, Open Rows and Open Lane, but in the next year it will also be available as a primary software, MicroStation, and in all the types of software which is based off MicroStation. So for that end, let me launch the software. That's a component. Let me open this pre-created file. Very briefly about the software. On the left-hand side, we have this transaction pane. That's where you have all the steps one by one. Of course, these can be combined or separated or change names. So this is a short history of how the geometry was created in this pane. In this first image, there can be multiple images. So we've got a 3D geometry, and in this additional pane, so this is a graph pane. That's where we will see the tiles. And each design, each project needs to be started with the primary system. So this is the base coordinate system, which will be the starting point where we will assign all other geometry. And I will hide this starting point. This will not be visible in the 3D image view. And I will connect some references. So we've got this reference tile. That's where you need to select host coordinate, and you need to select the file you want to connect. And the file I selected, this is the terrain file, which I have just created. And I will use now the tool. So this is the reference which is displayed in the file. As before, of course, we can change how it is displayed, how the point cloud is displayed. And so let me now create 2 points and so-called range box. And the range box is for the geometry to be inside and for us to be able to read information and geometry which is located in this box. To do this, I need to select the polyline tool. So this is the type of geometry which is included in my reference, and that's also where you can select some other options, like if you know which layer particularly this polyline is located, so you will be able to type in this name. As we have only one polyline, this option is not necessary for us to use, but this node, this tile, will help us to find all the polylines in this reference. So now I can hide this reference, I hide this tile, and all I have is just my polyline. What we can do now is we can create some additional points in this polyline using so-called the beginning and end parameter. So beginning, so this is 0. The end of the polyline equals to 1. And depending on the value I type in, you can control where the geometry is created. And for the purposes of this showcase project, I will use just this short section, and then I will do the entire line. So you can test this on a short section. Let me now launch another point. Let's create the polyline from one point to another. So we create a section of the entire polyline from the starting point to the end point. Let me hide other elements for us to see just this section, and in the next step, I will skip describing all the elements, but this is how you create so-called sliders. So this is to define the distance between the elements and the number of elements, etc., etc. And that's how you create points in the polyline where you will add so-called coordinate system. And with this, they have X, Y, Z directions adjust to the polyline. They are not equal to the starting point. They are adjusted to the polyline. And next, we can create or connect XL. This is a block. And in each of these points, this is how we created a tunnel. But in fact, this is just one geometry multiplied in all these points. And we have a very small section, but we could do that on the entire geometry. And the next element, we will hide all these coordination systems, not to distract geometry. And the next step will be creating, this is a shifted coordination system. And this alignment needs to be used as the center line. And we can create another one as a bottom if we want to add tracks, or also a lateral line, side line. That's where we will use X, Y, Z values collected from the previous coordination system. And you can add this offset by a particular value on X. And you can also connect this with the sliders, and you can slide this distance manually. In the next step, we create a copy of the line. That's the copy of the center line moved towards to one or the other point. In the next step, we create additional offsets, as the geometry we are going to insert will not be on this entire line. Sometimes we can move to the left or to the right. We can create things, and I have hidden those elements not to distract the geometry. And in next steps, we will create this railing. To do this, let me switch it on for this to be visible. This one can be invisible. So we have created wheels, multiple points based on the coordination systems, and we have also created this layer and this along these elements. And we also want this geometry to be full inside. So in the last step, we have created solid. So this makes geometry full. This can be hidden. And next step, as before with the rings of the tunnel, now we can add some more additional elements, like railings, lightning, handles, and this is how we can quickly create even minor elements along the tunnel. Obviously, this is only a small section of the tunnel, just for the needs of this test. And what we will do before we finish, this is a script. The script can be used multiple times. So if we want to implement a change in the alignment in the original file, in the starting file, in the terrain, if we make some shifts toward the left or right, so all you will need to do, you will need to refresh your reference. You will need to go through the script again. You need to recreate all the transactions, and this geometry will be adjusted to the changes implemented. As I said at the beginning, we are working just on the one section, but now I can go towards the first element, and let's say I want to go towards the end, to extend it, to extend this polyline to the end. So now I select the entire polyline, and it is refreshed, and a copy of the polyline which have been created are also refreshed automatically, and additionally we can increase the number of elements along the line. And as you can see, this model is now refreshed. We have the rings along the entire tunnel. Also inside, the elements have been created. And before I finish, I will hide these elements which I do not need. This one, and also the lines, and also the central line. And what is left, this is we need to just return to MicroStation, and I will go to the reference and I connect the tunnel.
Well, please note we have our tunnel connected, everything done fast. As I said, we can change this alignment and the tunnel will get adjusted and reference will be refreshed. And what we will do additionally here, we will go to the top view and import additional model of the underground station. Of course, this file not geo-referred is created in 00 of our file, therefore it is located very, very far away. With right click we can select move reference option and shift it to this location, for example. And then let's go to the side view. We will have to lift it up a bit. Well, let's turn it. Rotate, shift. And what we will do now is, of course, the cloud is disturbing us a little bit. It's going into the area of our station, so we can edit it. Now let's move back to Cloud Management tool, and for a moment we will hide the clouds. Next we will go to the tool named Extract Faces Edges, and thanks to this, in our station we can select given elements, or we can outline it manually, or we can select elements I will focus on the roof because we do not want the trees to be entering the roof space, and we can select such an option here. We click on these elements, and then we will create so-called complex shape from it. Option automatic, we select one and next portion, so we get the whole outlining, and geometry has been created, which we will use to cut out from our cloud. To do this, we will get connected again to our cloud. Next, we can select the option to create a mask. Here, of course, we have a lot of options available. We will select by element, and we'll select the shape we have created. Our cloud has been edited. In order to confirm it, we can, for a moment, hide our station. This shape, of course, can be removed because we do not need it. Well, our cloud has been cut out from this portion, and thanks to this, our station is not entering the cloud. And what else we are going to do here? We will look at the way of creating the drawings. In order to do it, we have additional tools facilitating this work. We can create so-called ACSs. That means a new system, X, Y, Z, and here we have a lot of options. In order to create it, we can do it based on 3 points or based on an element fitted to the view, and so on. Let's choose the option Align with Element. We select a point on our reference, and we have created such a starting point. If we move on here to blocking the so-called ACS plane log, we select this option now, and we select the top view. This view will get adjusted to the active ACS. So we have a rotated view into appropriate location. Then we can use the tool for creating cross sections. We select joints, so that means a template for our drawing. And additionally, what we have here, when we have point cloud imported to our model, to our file, additional option appears here, point cloud and so-called tolerance, which is available only when in the model there is a reference to the point cloud. And if it is switched on, the points in specified tolerance range will be reflected on the cutting platform. If it is switched off, points will be displayed in a real 3D location. So it may happen that we will see individual points only. Once we set a bit bigger tolerance, and we will see more of these points, so this context will be better visible. Then we select points in which we want to make a cross-section, the depth of it. A window will open for creating a drawing, and here we can create a drawing only. In the same step, we can create a drawing and a sheet on which this drawing will be located, and I select option OK. And we can see a sheet has been created with the inserted drawing, and actually our drawing is a reference. So we have a sheet on which we have a drawing as reference, whereas when creating the drawing, a model of the drawing and a model of a sheet has been created. So if we go to the model of the drawing, we will see that it is actually reference to a 3D model. Additionally, here we have, well, we can see white and yellow icons. These are so-called markers. These which we see here come from the file in which our station is, whereas this yellow one informs us that we are in just this very cross-section. Such a marker allows us to directly move from this marker to model of the drawing or to model of the sheet. Of course, we can also make use of other markers and move directly to the given file in which the given drawing or sheet is placed. Additionally, here we have an icon allowing us to move directly to the 3D view with applied clip volume, creating this drawing. If we click on it, a 3D model will be opened with our point cloud cut to its appropriate places, both in the cutting platform and depth of the projection coming from our drawing. So thus we can also see what the surroundings of our station look like. Good. Next way of creating drawings, which I would like to show you, is creating drawings alongside the line. It is very useful, especially in linear projects. Here we were actually, we had drawings in volume, whereas in linear structures, it would be useful to do drawings alongside such an element. In order to do it, let me remove our clip volume. We'll be back to the whole of our drawing or model, and we'll move over to the side view, and let us create a projection going through our tunnel. So we are creating the drawing, and we have created a projection alongside the whole element. Now we can create individual drawings, so we can enter the tool, name entry, the tool allowing us, we have a lot of individual options in line, but we also have an option to create so-called name badges along the whole element. Additionally, we can select name of such a drawing and how much they will overlap. Additionally, we select create drawing option, which will allow us to automatically create drawings. In the first step, we have to determine the size of such an area, for example, this one, and then we select the initial point on the line along which we want to create drawings, and then the end point. Of course, we can go to the very end, or we can select some intermediate point. A window will be opened for creating drawings like before, and now we will create drawings only. So we can select scale, and we choose OK. Thanks to this, we can see that automatically we had 5 drawings created which now, of course, we can open. And as I mentioned, each of them will be slightly overlapping the next one. We can, of course, describe them and put them in the sheet and print out. So it's a quick way of creating drawings. So this is all from me. Now I hand the floor over to Bartek again. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dorota, for this subject part of the workshop. Let me pass over to you some significant announcements. So I think Virtuos brand can need introduction. It is a new brand. The way of distribution of the software has been totally changed. So directly on the e-commerce platform, you can purchase the software together with a series of accompanying services. Virtuosity, so here user is the main character, and for the user, the whole system of communication and using the software is built together with those services I mentioned. So what is happening when you purchase the software? The software on e-commerce platform on Virtuosity, well, you are getting access to the license together with professional services, including mentoring, individual trainings, and even access to pre-recorded trainings too. And these services included in Virtuoso Kit, that means keys, which act like a token. A buying application, you get a few keys, and each of them, anytime during subscription time, can be replaced by a few hours of individual training. They are specifically 2 hours of dedicated training or 4 hours of standard training. The way of making use of these opportunities depends finally on the user. However, what is worth remembering, having Virtuoso keys, you do not need to spend thousands of zlotys for trainings and look for incomplete knowledge at internet forums. Practically, within hundreds, you have a consultant available who will help you launch the project or carry out the onboarding of a new employee. Keys are delivered with every purchasing and at every renewal of the license. You are encouraged to visit me either at virtuosity.com or at the address I displayed here. Thank you for your kind attention. Thank you very much. Well, Dorota and Bartłomiej, thank you very much for this presentation. And I checked on the chat. There are no questions at the moment for you to answer. I don't know if you would like to comment on something or add to this presentation. I think everything has been said. Excellent. And in perfect style. Congratulations. So, as Bartek mentioned, if there are questions, contact details have been displayed, so later we will answer them. Thank you very much. So this was the last event today, I mean the last workshop on the first day of infraBIM.